So to start off with, I spelt two or three words wrong in the title, and then second of we was like maybe 3, 4, maybe 5 minutes into the live, and I got a phone call, and I answered the phone call because basically my phone's like playing up at the moment, and every number that rings it just comes up saying unknown. So like I don't actually know who's ringing me, and so like I always like curious to answer it is because I don't actually know who it is. So I sort of took off to answer it, and it like stopped the stream and stuff like that. And I thought, in all fairness, that the stream wouldn't have uploaded because I like cancelled it, but it still actually uploaded, and it had the wrong sort of, it had the spelling errors in the title. Things just didn't plan as far as the stream went. So I thought, do you know what? We've got to have another crack at this. We've got to redo it. So apart from that stream this morning that just went to absolute pot, I've not been live properly for a while because I've not had any internet. I've only had mobile data, and I was very limited to how much mobile data I had. And going live and things, as you know, it crams and uses your data like crazy. So if you do like a couple of lives a week, you're using gigs of data, and when you only get like 5 gigs of data, it's not much. However, to cut the story short, I went to top up last week, and I got put through to an advisor who actually offered me a deal, and it just gives me a bit more data and stuff like that. Well, quite a lot more actually, which means that I can just bust out a couple of lives and stuff like that. So I should be doing some more lives. I don't know how many. I won't be doing lives like every day, but I'll be definitely doing some more. I'll be doing some updates and things regarding what I've got coming up and stuff. So let's get on to the main reason of this video, and that is the aftermath of Bounce Till You Drop, the second event. And to be honest with you, I've been sat all day. Well, I was sat at home all day trying to process actually what went down last night, and then I went over to my friend's house. There was cooking a toad in the hall, and I was sat there. I was trying to process there, like what actually happened last night, and it's just absolutely crazy. I can't even just believe that last night even happened, and I don't even know where to begin to describe the night. Obviously, it's the second bounce to your drop, so you might remember my sort of like aftermath and my reaction to the first event, which was just absolutely superb. That was a really wicked night. That was one of the, well, that is on par with this night to the best booking that I've taken this year. So these two bounce nights, they actually run on par because you just can't fault them. You just cannot fault them. So but obviously with the last one, it was the first time in the venue. It was a new venue, so I had all that kind of to discuss and explain, which kind of helped me process how good the night was. But literally like this time, because I've already been in the venue. But if you've not been to the venue, it's the Light Night Club in Scunthorpe. It was originally like a church and a chapel, I believe, and it got renovated, it got taken over. I think it's been a club for years, but I think it just had like a little bit of a makeover this year, and it got kind of like a bit of a revamp. And it's just an amazing club with 2 rooms. You've got the main room, which is like just almost like, you picture like a massive sort of like a massive, so the main space of a church. So you'd have all the seats, and then you'd have like the sort of almost like the stage. I forget what you call it. Where the vicar would stand. But it's all been done out with like a stage in there. The lighting is absolutely fantastic. You've got a balcony area. You've got a massive bar. You've got some tables and chairs to sit down, so you can actually sit down, and they're like almost like little booth seats, and they're just really nice, and you don't have to stand in the crowd kind of thing. You've got the room too, which the room 2 again has a nice little dance floor area. There's another bar in there. There's some more seats to sit down, and there's like some. You go up some steps, and there's like another little like smaller dance floor, and then you've got the DJ booth, and it was just absolutely fandabidozy. It's just, it's a really nice venue. It's just a really nice nightclub in general. So anyway, last night was obviously Bounce Till You Drop there, so we're doing the aftermath of it. And it was a really big night. There was big names involved, such as Nixie and Devise. There was General Bounce, which is the guy who runs the record label Cheeky Tracks. They've had a lot of white label releases back in the day, and there's been some major remixes done have been done on the label Cheeky Tracks, and the guy that runs it himself is none other than General Bounce. He's an absolute legend, David Gray, and he was there to play. Like I said, there was Nixie and Devise. There was Top Vibe and Destiny. They're like residents and people that actually put the night on. They run the night themselves. There was a guy called Luke Wado that played in room 2 alongside myself, and then there was the main man himself, Ian Vandal. You should all know Ian Vandal. I mean, even if you don't physically know him, you will recognise some of his tracks, because some of his tracks were just absolutely massive. He did a tune called Castles in the Sky. You might be familiar with that. It was a really big Clubland song, so it was on a lot of Clubland CDs. It comes on Clubland TV, and even if you go to like local pubs where you've got like the normal Friday night, Saturday night resident DJ, there's probably 9 times out of 10 that DJ will at some point probably drop Castles in the Sky. They often like Alice DJ, Better Off Alone, and Castles in the Sky. It's a really well known song. So, even if you're not really familiar with like the sort of clubland scene and the club sort of music, you probably heard that song at some point, and I think it might have even probably been on the radio back in the day. It was released on New Life Records, and it's a massive tune. He's had worldwide signings. He's played at clubs all over the world, and he's got an absolutely massive name for himself. And like I said, the song itself, Castles in the Sky, still lives on today. People still remix it. People still bootleg it. People still play it. And it's just a tune that doesn't get old. It doesn't show over time. It's still fresh to people, really, and it just has an absolutely wicked sound to it. The vocals in it are amazing. So he was there himself, so the lineup was just absolutely belting. So this time I was actually asked to play in the room 2. Now, at the first event I played in the main room, and what they said for the night is they said they want to sort of switch things up. So like if you've got a lineup that more or less looks the same all the time, it's gonna like get boring for people, and it's not gonna drag people into the night. Do you know what I mean? Because they want to come and see like fresh faces. So if there's like maybe 1 or 2 new headliners and then the rest of the acts are just the same, it's kind of a little bit annoying for people, and they'll get a little bit bored. So they said, that they really liked my set last time. They really enjoyed my style. They heard that I can play classics. I can play like classic house and classic club tunes. So they said, look, we can offer you a slot in room 2 if you want to play in room 2. And I was more than happy to take the set in room 2, because I do like playing my club classics. I love my clubland tune, my club classics, my old school house and stuff. And the event is just something that is so good and magical that I just wanted to be behind it like all the way. I wanted to, I want to back the night, and I just want to be a part of it, and I want to help it in any way that I can. And even if I wasn't playing on the night, I would still go down and show my support, because it's just an absolutely fantastic night in general. So I was more than happy to play the room 2. So I was, all set to play the room 2. Got loads of classic house tunes ready. I didn't really have a set planned for it. I just sort of threw more or less every house tune that I own onto a USB stick and just sort of thought, on the night I'll just see what I'm vibing and see what I feel like playing and and stuff like that. So that was quite good. And then it got to about this time last week, and there was kind of like we've got sort of 1 week to go. We've got 1 week to push it really. And they said to me, they said, um, bring a set ready because we might want you to play the main room because I'm not going to go into too much detail, but someone did, as a matter of fact, they actually dropped out from Bounce Till You Drop. There was part of the team and they dropped out. They just said it wasn't working for them. So they was actually down, but they said there might be a rush at the door. They might be a little bit busy with people coming in. And two of the residents play themselves, like, well, two of the people that put the night on, they play themselves. So, like, they might not have had much time to play. So they said, just get some tunes ready, prepare a set, and, you might get asked to play in the main room. So I put a set together, and lo and behold, I actually got asked to do a 45-minute set in the main room, which I was absolutely buzzed about because it was just because I do love playing the main room, and I do love playing my classic house tunes and stuff, but I do love my sort of like bouncy and I like my harder stuff. I'm into my hardcore and stuff else. So it was really nice to get offered to play the main room. So I had a set prepared for the main room, and I was actually on second of the night. So it was a bit better for me really because obviously like the last time I played the first set of the night, and that set's always going to be a little bit quiet because people are just coming in. But the second set of the night, it's starting to get busier as the club, and because the weather was so bad outside, like you've got the ice and you've got the snow, people were like sort of going out for a smoke and they were sort of going to the smoking area. So you had people that were like coming in, and because it was so cold outside, they're like staying inside to keep warm. So they're more or less coming in for my set, they're listening to the music, and it was just absolutely, it was a belting vibe. And I started off with a remix of a classic tune. A guy called Degeneration did a tune which they remixed a classic. They remixed the happy hardcore classic Heart of Gold. And to me, I had to start with that tune. It was just a really feel good. It was just a really nice sort of classic, but a really sort of euphoric sing along tune that would just get you right into the set. And it was just a really good sort of vibe to set the night going. And then I just went in with some absolute stompers, and then towards the end, I just took it a little bit harder and went into some hard bounce, that a little bit harder tunes, and a little bit of hard house was sort of in it as well. And it was a belting tune. When I was putting the set together, there's a tune called Ounce of Bounce, and it's a mix between a bounce tune and a hard house tune. And it's basically it's about it's a weird track to explain, but it's like it's almost like a little kid asking this guy if he's got any bounce, and then this guy sort of like explains the different types of bounce he's got, and the track goes through like different sort of elements of bounce. So it's almost like a dealer, but he's dealing bounce, and he's explaining what bounce he's got, and he's playing a sample of what bounce he's got. It's a really wicked track. And I thought, I was putting my set together. I thought, do I put this in the set? Do I chance it and put it in? And it seemed to fit in. When I was mixing it in at home, it seemed to like go with the other tunes, and it was quite a good tune to go into. So I thought, you know what, I'll put it on the stick, and if I feel like dropping it in the night, I'll drop it in the night. I'll drop it in. So towards the end, I went into these sort of like harder tunes, and it turned out really well. So I was just buzzed. It was an absolutely banging set, and I was so grateful for the opportunity. So I went on at 11:45 and I finished at 12:30. It was a 45-minute set, and just as I was like sort of finishing, obviously I was handing it over to two headliners, Nixie and Devise. They've been smashing it lately with releases on Bounce Heaven, and they've had a few bookings themselves, and It was just a pleasure to hand the decks over to them. They said I smashed it, and then I more or less had to go straight into room two. I just had to literally wait for them to drop their first tune in, just so I could eject my USB stick from the decks, and then I was straight into room two to club and house anthems. So I went into room two, and room two was more or less dead. There was a couple of people in there. That was about it. People are still coming into the night as well. It's still sort of early days ish. It's starting to get busy, but it's not. There's still like a lot of chance for it to get busier. So I go straight into room two, and the guy was playing in room two first, he hands over to me, and I begin playing the club and the house classics. So I decided to go for a little bit. I started off with some like remixes of some classics. So I had some remixes. First, I started with the Shapeshifters. Lola's theme was a nice little sort of tech house remix of that. Then I went into a remix of Alison Limerick, Where Love Lives. I went into some other remixes, and then I went into some actual classics as well. Dropped some classics, and one of the other headliners of the night actually came into room two and actually just came and supported my set for a little bit, and he came and sat in the room too and just sort of had a little bit of a chat with me, because it was a little bit quiet in there at first, and I was just sort of, I was just spinning away these classic tunes. I was just having a chat to him, and he was on about how he used to enjoy playing his classic house and stuff. So it was really nice to meet General Bounce himself. And then just as my set went on, it got busier and busier, and I actually ended up, by the end of my set, I'd actually packed the room too. Like, the room too had actually filled out, and it was heaving in there. It was so busy in there, and there was people dancing in there. There was a lot more like younger people in there, like college students and uni students, and lads on a night out with their mates. They've maybe been into a few pubs and stuff like that, and then they say, oh, this club's open, so we'll come in. They maybe pay on the door, kind of thing. But bounce isn't really their thing, so they go straight into the room too. And they're just absolutely heaving off of it. And I drop more classics and more belting tunes. And then it comes to a part where I was actually debating on my life. I'm thinking, what am I actually doing here? It come to the point where I thought, what am I doing here? Now there was these foreign people that had come into the room too, and there was like a foreign woman and there was a load of foreign lads, and they they didn't as such know a lot of the classics. They were big into the classics, and they wasn't from the UK, and they for whatever reason they got it in their head that the pair of decks that I was mixing on, they actually thought that you could just type in any song in the world and it would pick it up. So like they were showing me like tunes that they've got on their Spotify playlist, which was like some stuff that was in the charts, and some like old R&B stuff, and they thought I could just search it in and play it. They thought I just had a sort of like almost like an infinity library of music that I could just play whatever they wanted, and they didn't understand that a DJ has to like mix in his next track. They thought they could sort of say play this, and then I'd just instantly play it. And it come to the point where this girl was actually starting to get on my wick. She was getting on my nerves. She was constantly coming up to my ear. I was trying to mix, and she was saying, we don't know this music. Can you play something else?" And I'm like apologising to her, because I'm saying, look, I've only got what's on this USB stick. I haven't got an infinity playlist of music. And then she's pointing to a laptop that's at the side of me, and the laptop's not actually mine, so I can't just go on it and use it. And I can't just search any tune in and play any tune. I can only play what's on my speed stick. So I'm trying to sort of like please this woman, and she's saying, have you got any Shakira? Have you got any Black Eyed Peas? And luckily, I put a folder on my USB stick, which is a dance and old school remixes from when I used to do layman radio. And luckily, there was a couple of like remixes of some R&B tunes, and there was a remix of Shakira, and there was a couple of remixes of Black Eyed Peas and they wanted some Daft Punk, and I had a remix of Daft Punk One More Time. Um, but they wouldn't stop. They were just going on, and there was a lot of young people, so I can understand that it would, they wouldn't necessarily all know like the old school songs. But when I got booked for the night, I was originally booked and asked to play like, they said you play old school house, don't you? And I was like, yeah, I play old school house and classics. So they asked me and said, look, will you play in the room too, and will you play the old school house? So obviously, I'm planning a set to play the old school house. Um, but obviously, now I know next time that, if I was going to play like a room two again, I'd know to like come prepared and maybe bring some newer stuff and bring some more like, like a different variety of songs as well. Because I brought a lot of classics with me, and even a lot of my remixes, they were like remixes of classics. Um, because I was never really a big R&B fan growing up. I didn't mind some of it. I didn't mind the Shakira song, but when I was doing the radio, I got it for the radio just to switch things up a bit, and I thought I was just going through this like period of finding as many remixes of like old songs that I could. I even had like a remix of Nelly's Dilemma, but it was just trying to find it on the night. And when you had the woman like going on in my ear, and like she didn't understand that she had to wait for my cue point to mix the next tune in. She thought I could just instantly play the next song, and she's like more or less almost trying to climb into the booth and telling me that I'm doing it all wrong, and telling me that that I'm no good. So it proper, it was quite funny, but at the time I was tinily trying to get a little bit stressed, but it was still a buzz to play in the room, and if anything, it just added to the funness of the night, really. But I definitely felt like one of them sort of like local resident DJs that plays requests. Do you know what I mean? Like a disco DJ. It definitely felt like that, but I love DJing. I love all kinds of DJing, so it was fun to try it out. It was fun to do something different, and I enjoyed it. Nevertheless, and I like people coming up and asking for requests. It's just annoying, like when I don't actually have it. Like because I'd love to have it, but because I don't actually have it. It's a little bit gutting for me because I'd love to have said like I'll play this, and they wanted stuff like Polish music and Spanish music or whatever, and I don't have that stuff because I'm not Spanish myself. I'm not Polish myself. No disrespect to them, but it was still a buzz. It was still absolutely fantastic, and I enjoyed the room, nevertheless. And I still packed it out. I filled it. There was people dancing and having a good time. I went a little bit heavier in there as well, with some big bass line drops and some other like big drops as well. Some remixes of classics. But I'm a classic kind of guy as well. It's what I was brought up around. So I don't really have like other stuff really, but maybe as a lesson to me, maybe I should just get some like other songs as well, just in case I'm ever in a situation where I do have to cater um, for like like maybe if the audience do want something a little bit different. Playing in a room like that is different to playing on the main stage because it's bounce, it's a big stage. The DJ has a planned set. Whereas that sort of room reminded me very much of like a disco DJ, where you've got people that come up to the booth and say, "Can you play an Ed Sheeran song?" for example. Because it's just how it goes. It's that kind of room. It had that kind of crowd in it. It had that kind of vibe in it. So, but nevertheless, it was still absolutely fantastic. And after that, it was just all about the chills for me. I went onto the VIP balcony and spoke with Ian Van Dal himself, an amazing guy. Had a picture with him, and just absolutely was just such an awesome buzz to actually meet him. And then we got to witness his set. I got to witness some of General Bounce's set as well, which he played an amazing set with some pure classics in it as well. and it was just, all in all, it was just a really amazing and awesome night. And Bounce to Your Drop, they've smashed it out of the park again. Like I say, for me, this is on par with the last night they did, and these 2 nights that they've done, they've been my best bookings that I've taken this year, and I even get paid for them as well. They always, if they break even and they have a good turnout, they have a good night, they always sort the artists out, even if it's just like the fuel money for coming and stuff like that. But I got sorted out for playing both rooms, and I was more than happy with what I got sorted out with. So I won't discuss that on stream because I don't go into like financial stuff and wages, but I got sorted for it, and they're an amazing people that put a night on. They know what they're doing. They know what they're doing, and they're just doing their own thing, and they're just killing it. And it's just, for me, it's what I want to be behind, because it's full of good vibes. Everybody's just enjoying and getting along with each other on the nights. You don't, that I know of. Yeah, I've not seen any issues. I've not seen no fighting, no scrapping. Everything's just been top solid. Everything's just been absolutely how you would expect it to be. You would just expect it to be absolutely fantastic, and it is. It's fantastic. It's no more than fantastic, and I'm just so buzzed. Like I said, I got to be part of such an amazing night again for the second time around. So that's it now. That's it for Bounce to Your Drop this year. I know they've got some big plans for next year, and I think they'll be definitely putting them plans into action after yesterday's, amazing turnout. Um, Obviously, I can't tell you at this moment in time if I'm gonna be, if I'm gonna be on board with them. I definitely think I'll be back with them again at some point. But we'll just have to sort of see how things go. All I know is that they've got some things coming next year, and it won't be too far into next year either before you'll start hearing stuff. But don't forget to follow me on Facebook, Ashley Noble, DJ Ash Noble, Instagram. Follow Bounce to Your Drop, because there's a lot of stuff to come from them in the coming weeks, such as they'll be doing a write-up status about how the night was. Then there'll be all the photographs that the photographer took. There'll be like, maybe, I don't know, there might be like an after movie video as well that might go up. So there'll just be like sort of like a look into how the night went kind of thing. So just keep an eye out for them. There's going to be some activity on the page in the coming weeks, and then they'll probably go quiet over Christmas, and then sort of coming into the new year, we'll probably start hearing about some of them next year plans. Who knows? But just keep following them. I know I will. They've got a good thing going, and they deserve all the goodness that's coming to them, because they put the effort in. They promote the events to the moon and back. They flyer it absolutely everywhere, and like I say, they just know what they're doing, and they just know how to do what they're doing, and they just do it right. They do it absolutely correct, and I couldn't think of any other better night that I would actually want to be involved with. Like, I love all my gigs that I do, but if I'm gonna get the chance to be involved with these nights, it's these nights full steam ahead for me. They're absolutely belting. But next up for me is the Christmas stomping. Now, I don't wanna sort of like speak too soon, and I don't want to kill the atmosphere and the vibe, but I am playing at Stomping next, all being well, and that is only because there's a few things in the news about the COVID and stuff, and there's a slight possibility of us going into another lockdown. I know they're bringing masks back, I believe, next week. I've already had the warning, and I've already had the talk from my nan. Make sure you've got your mask on when you're on the public transport. They're all, they believe in the COVID. They're all too far up the government's arse, and they believe that this new strain, is the next bad thing, and it is bad, and we have to be protected from it. Now, I'm not saying as such that I don't believe in COVID. I do believe that there is COVID, but I just believe it's size, and I just believe that they just make it out worse to be worse than it actually is. And all I will say is what happened to all the other illnesses. Do you know what I mean? What happened to all the people that die of like flu, man flu? What happened to man flu? So I just think the COVID is just like a bad strain of man flu that was really going around. But they definitely play on it. They definitely play on it. I mean, flu's been around for years. People have caught it, but you know we've never had to isolate and wear masks before. It's all about government control. I don't believe in getting jabbed either. I think that getting jabbed is just stupid. It actually there's bad things in the jab as well. And you actually, what you know, it'll actually increase your years of living as well by having the jab. So I've been reading, and people have been dying from the jab. And what I will say is there was a guy's mother who had the jab, and a couple of days after the jab, she actually died. And the doctors, the nurses wanted to write it down to COVID. He believed it was through the jab that killed her. They was denying it. He actually paid quite a lot of money, and he actually got legal advice, and he actually got it legally investigated by paying a lot of money to prove whether it was the jab or not that actually killed his mum. And they actually proved that it was actually the jab that killed his mum. So I won't take the jab. I know people that have had the jab. Most of the people I know have had the jab. They've had their boosters, they've had their second jabs, and they did have a jab again. Even though, you know, it's not I can't force them and tell them what to do, but I have tried to somewhat tell them, you know, you shouldn't get the jab, but, you know, like I say, you can't force and you can't push people. People that, you know, that they'll have a mind of their own. They'll decide themselves what they want to do at the end of the day. So, you know, you can only tell them so much. You can only try and, yeah, I guess rather than try telling them what to do, you can only sort of advise them and, you know, try and show them the truth of what's really in the vaccines and what's going around them. But anyway, we won't jinx things, you know, hopefully, fingers crossed. You know, my next booking will go ahead, my next stomping, I've got a naughty set planned for it. So hopefully it all goes ahead. It's in 3 weeks' time. I think they was going to review whatever was happening in 3 weeks and stuff like that. So let's just be positive. Fingers crossed. So like, comment, share, bounce to your drop. You've smashed it out of the park. You've absolutely nailed it again with another event. I look forward to seeing what Bounce to Your Drop are going to bring to the venue next year. So keep your eyes peeled. Like, subscribe and comment. And we'll see you all next time.